Rob Dawson here. I got Jeff Goodman with me.
Hell no.
John Fink.
Are we still live?
Field of 68 till I die.
I'm sorry, man. I blacked out.
Randolph Children.
DJ Khaled, you not a big DJ Khaled guy?
Hands thrown up and in.
Goodman needs to be fired all the time.
Josh Tasker. You're going to beat people straight up.
You know the deal.
They have no swag. They have no nothing.
Terrell McNeil.
From the bluest of the blue bloods to the smallest of the mid-majors.
This is Field of 68 After Dark.
Welcome to the Field of 68 After Dark, live from downtown Boston, just a few blocks away from TD Arena, where we will have the East Regional Final coming up on Saturday evening between UConn and Illinois. We are at the greatest bar, an awesome spot here in downtown Boston, after we just watched Duke punch a ticket to the Elite Eight, and a little bit of it's highly talked about fashion here that we'll get to in a moment, in a game that Jamal Shead exited. But the Blue Devils, year 2 of the Jon Scheyer era, and Duke is going to meet North Carolina State, an all ACC regional.
ACC.
Yeah.
ACC. I'll tell you what, I've always been the ACC lover on this podcast, right? Forget
Right.
Terrence Oglesby, forget Randolph Childress, forget John Henson, forget Tyler Hansbrough. It's been us. We've been touting the ACC the entire season.
Full of ACC voices.
Nothing but ACC voices. I'll tell you guys this. A little inside baseball here, right? Our Field of 68 group chat has been unbelievably celebratory over the course of the last 2 weeks with Randolph Childress, Terrence Oglesby, John Henson. It has been nonstop. Every single thing that happens, it's, hey, John Fanta, don't duck me. Hey, Jeff Goodman, don't duck me.
So now, forget about the pump party or any of the other parties next week. We are told that Randolph Childress is doing bottle service next week in Phoenix, Arizona, and is hosting RC's Final Four party. Is this true?
It really might be. I mean, all those dudes might be out there. Like, T.O., if Clemson gets to the Final Four, like, he's got to go out there. He shouldn't have to pay for a thing.
So let's get to it here. We just watched Tennessee beat Creighton 82-75, an 18-0 run. Helped secure that win. They're going to meet Purdue, who got past Gonzaga, Zach Edey, and the Boilermakers too much, and now they're 40 minutes away. This is fascinating now. Here's your Elite Eight, America. You've got Purdue meeting Tennessee again. You have Duke and NC State, the last time Duke lost to NC State in their first ACC tournament game. You get Alabama and Clemson. They met in the ACC-SEC Challenge. So 3 of the 4 Elite Eight matchups are between teams that met in the regular season. The other, UConn, Illinois, they haven't met in 30 years. So before we get to the games tonight, give me your instant reaction to this Elite Eight, a Purdue-Tennessee rematch highlight Sunday.
Yeah, I mean, that's the 1-2 game. That's the heavyweight matchup. That's the one I think people are going to want to see because of the storylines as well, right? I mean, you've got Purdue and what happened a year ago. Losing FDU, people kind of hammering Matt Painter. Then you got Rick Barnes.
In a while.
The monkey that's been on his back for a long time, not getting back to the Final Four. He's got a chance now. They beat a really good Creighton team that pulled back. We'll talk about that in a little bit, but they made it a game, and Tennessee held them off, got a huge win tonight.
I just love all of the storylines and the narratives that we're getting out of this Elite Eight, right? Just think about it. You got Matt Painter. He's got a chance to get to the Final Four and redeem himself for everything that's happened in the course of the last 3 years. You have Rick Barnes, who's been criticized ad nauseum.
Vilified
for his struggles in March, right? You have Jon Scheyer in his second season.
Boy wonder.
With a chance to make it to the Final Four. You have Kevin Keats and Brad Brownell, who are both on the verge.
Mr. Hot Seat.
There was a chance that they both could have been fired. Not this year, right? But coming into the season, well, Kevin Keats, 18 days ago, might have been in danger of losing his job. And now he is 1 win away from a team that he beat 18 days ago from getting to the Final Four. And, oh, by the way, you have the best game of the Elite Eight is UConn with a chance to go undefeated against a team that may be playing the best basketball in college basketball. I know we didn't get North Carolina, Arizona, which is what everyone kind of wanted. But we have so many incredible storylines. I can't wait, man.
I can't wait either. I'm pumped. I really can't. And you know what? To me, tonight, like early in that second half, let's start with the team that we talked about the entire year in Purdue. Early in the second half, Mark Few's Zags are playing well. Ryan Nemhart played really well. Graham Ike hit a couple of big-time threes, was not known for his three-ball, hit a couple of big-time shots. But then, Jeff, Fletcher Lawyer and Brayton Smith pick it up into another year. Right now, Trey Kaufman-Wren and Lance Jones are also giving Purdue something. It just feels like all the stuff we talked about. Will the pieces around Zach Edey be able to complement him? They are.
Yeah, and they have been all year. They have been all year, and the question was, could they do it when the lights went on, right? Could they do it in the NCAA tournament? Because obviously a year ago they clenched up. They clenched up, and how were they going to react? Once they got past that first game, I think they were able to breathe a little bit. And Braden Smith, man, talk about a game.
Good.
Talk about a game. I mean, that's a guy, again, we go back to it a year ago. He was a freshman. He looked like a freshman who hit the wall down the stretch last year. Too much was on his shoulders for a freshman that hadn't played in the summer. Remember, he wasn't able to do anything all summer, so there was a reason he wore down. Tonight, man, he looked like as fresh as can be. And remember, he had the injury 2 weeks ago.
I just want to tell everybody out there, if you somehow missed this, 14 points, 15 assists.
Is that good?
2 turnovers. He had 8 rebounds in a Sweet 16 game. What stands out to you the most about him?
His ability to read the game. So the thing that was fascinating to me about that matchup was both teams were doing a lot of ball screen heavy stuff and just carving each other up. Like that first half was just beautiful basketball on both ends. It wasn't like this, like Alabama, North Carolina was. But it was, okay, Gonzaga's the best ball screen offense in college basketball right now, right? I don't know what they are in terms of numbers, but in terms of what they are today, they're the best ball screen offense in college basketball. And they were lighting Purdue up. And at the other end, Purdue was getting whatever they wanted because of Braden Smith. Zach Edey didn't play all that well in the first half. He had a great second half, not play all that well in the first half. And Purdue, despite Gonzaga throwing their best punch, was up by – it reminded me a little bit of UConn, San Diego State from last night, right? Where you're kind of going into halftime saying, well, they just threw their fastball. And it's like Purdue didn't play great, and they're still up by 4 heading to the break. That's when I was like, okay, this is Purdue, man. Yeah. I'm happy for them. And I cannot wait for that game on Sunday.
I can't wait for it because if you remember, when Purdue and Tennessee met in the Maui Invitational, it was the most controversial Maui game because of how many fouls were called in that game, which you said, hey, they're fouls, and the officials are calling it as this, but everybody says Edey gets this whistle. We know one thing about Tennessee. I mean, they fight you tooth and nail. I can't wait to see this rematch.
Yeah, I mean, they've got enough bodies. Obviously, the other thing, back then we didn't know who Dalton Connect was. And I'm not sure Dalton Connect knew who he was at that point. Now, he's a dude, right? He's a dude. And Zakai Ziegler, that's the other big difference, right? Purdue's gotten better. We know that. Braden Smith's gotten better than he was early in the season. But to me, Zakai Ziegler is healthy. This Tennessee team is far different to me than the one that played Purdue back in November.
Yeah, no, you're 100% right. And it's because they're still that same tough, physical, gritty, grind you down defensive team they've been basically since Rick Barnes took over. But now they happen to have a guy who is the best scorer. I don't want to say best scorer. Terrence Shannon is the best scorer today, but is as good of a bucket getter as you're going to find in college basketball, point blank period. A guy that, let's be honest, Purdue doesn't really have a great matchup for. And, by the way, you have the precise kind of point guard that can give someone like Braden Smith some trouble. Zakai Ziegler, he's not a perfect player, but you know what he can do? He can climb up underneath Braden Smith and make life miserable for him.
And Braden's not big. That's the thing. It's not like Zakai Ziegler. Normally you'd be like, man, he's tiny compared to that dude. Well, he's not tiny compared to Braden Smith.
I'm going to ask you the question that comes to my mind here. Is this, not to say that in the Final Four that anything can't happen,
right?
But it feels like on that side of the bracket, Jeff, Purdue and Tennessee are the two best teams. When you pair them up in the other regional final, it's Duke and NC State. I'm not trying to be disrespectful, But it feels like this Purdue-Tennessee winner has got to feel great about getting to the title game, unless you want to push back on me.
No, I agree with you, but I think Duke, you just don't know. Now, they were fortunate tonight, and I'm not sure we want to get there yet, but they were very fortunate that a guy named Jamal Shead went down in the first half. To me, if Shead doesn't go down, Houston wins this game, and they win it, I don't want to say comfortably, but they win this game. You take away the best point guard in the country, and I'm ready to say it. Okay, I've said Tyler Kolek all year. The best all-around point guard of the country is named Jamal Shead.
You want to know why? You could see what Houston is without him.
Oh, my God.
Couldn't do anything.
Yes. You can see
Nothing.
You can see how
Offensively, it
important he is.
was like the three of us out there with two other schlumps.
They ran a set through Jawan Roberts. You said they're running their offense through Jawan Roberts.
They were running their offense through Jawan Roberts.
And Emmanuel Sharp went 2 of 7 from the floor tonight, 7 points. That wasn't good enough. Look, at the end of the day, they don't ask you how or why in this tournament.
No,
Jon
nobody's gonna
Scheyer
remember
at
it.
36 is going to the Elite Eight.
Listen, how many people remember that in Kentucky's lone national title under John Calipari that Kendall Marshall broke his wrist? How many people remember it? Nobody, right? Nobody. I mean, I do. But
I remember it.
Very
but
few remember and talk about it. Very few, if Duke goes to a Final Four, are going to say, well,
you only can beat who's in front of you. Like, I don't think that should take away what
No.
Duke was able to do.
No.
It's part of the game.
they
And
were
what'd you-
fortunate. That's all. They were fortunate.
Yeah.
And what'd you see from Duke to be able to pull out this win? They got 30 points combined from Kyle Filipowski and Jeremy Roach.
I mean, look, we've been saying all year long, right? You can fall in love with the freshmen. You can say that these guys have the NBA talent. You can say whatever you want. But at the end of the day, you need those veterans that are going to be able to make the big plays and big moments. And I thought Filipowski was terrific, right? Like the thing that stood out to me the most about this Duke game is they didn't get as beat up as I thought they were going to get.
No.
And they gave it back to him a little bit too. Like this was a situation where early on it looked like Duke was overmatched physically. And
It did.
I think that Houston jumped out to an 8-0 lead.
Yeah, Duke had 10 points for the first 14 minutes of the game.
But what happened was it was like 10-2 at one point, and then Houston didn't score for like 8 minutes.
Yes.
And Duke, it's not like Duke made a run, but they hung around and they got the stops and they got the loose balls and they got the rebounds and they found a way to get to the game and they got to the rhythm and they put themselves in a position where they were going to be able to make some plays down the stretch, and that's what they needed. And yes, they got a little bit lucky
Houston, good offense.
That's fine. That's
And
fine.
all.
But Duke still had to beat them. And
No,
and
no,
here's
I
the
get
thing.
it. I
And you
get
know what
it.
that turned into? Once they stopped being able to run offense, it was strictly a rugby match. It was
Right,
let's
that's
go
what it
out
was.
there and
That's
you
right.
have like
Hey.
the only way they could win it is by basically playing football. And
Hey.
you know what Duke did? They took every single one of those punches and they survived. You
Jeremy
gotta give
Roach
them credit
made
for
a
that.
huge pull-up late in the game.
Yeah.
With about a minute and a half, 2 minutes left. Huge play. Filipowski in the play before had lost the ball out of bounds. Houston came down the other end. Couldn't finish. They had 2 or 3 opportunities, point blank. Didn't make him. Roach comes back down, extends it, I think, to 6, and that was pretty much it.
You know what I'm thinking? It's Jeremy said tonight throughout some key moments. What we saw 2 years ago when Duke made it all the way in the Final Four. Jeremy Roach was the alpha when Duke needed a play.
Listen, the bottom line is, again, obviously you give Duke credit. They were able
Right.
to, like Rob said, they were able to grind it out and win a game against a tough team. Not the most talented Duke, Houston team, but a tough Houston team. No matter who you put on the floor, they're going to fight you. They're going to kill you in the paint. They're going to grab you. They're going to hold you. They're going to do whatever they can. And to me, Duke showed a level of toughness. That's what we want to see from them. They showed that. That's going to help them in the next game.
Can you believe it that we are guaranteed an ACC Final Four team, the winner of Duke and State, which, by the way, we've got 20 seconds. We're going to get to them. If there's a winner tonight, NC State ain't afraid of Duke. They just beat them in the ACC tournament. NC State's for real.
Hey, listen, that is honestly the craziest part about all of it, is that we're talking about Duke having a chance to make it to the NCAA tournament or to the
Final Four,
going up against a team just beat them that more or less saved their jobs. Listen, I'm taking over hosting duties here. John Fanta, you're my man. But when we come back, We're going to be breaking down NC State's run. Kevin Keys, my man. Shout out to you. That's next.
The best month of the year is here, which is why you need to know that we are partnered with BetMGM. We'll be using BetMGM lines for making all of our picks and predictions, and we'll have special offers for the listeners and the viewers of the Field of 68. If you haven't signed up for BetMGM yet, you can use bonus code FIELD, and you will get up to a $1,500 first bet offer on your first wager with BetMGM. Here's the best part. All you need to do is deposit and bet $10 of your hard-earned money to get it. This is what you have to do to make it work. Download the BetMGM app and sign up using that bonus code FIELD. Deposit at least $10 and place your first wager on any game. You'll get up to $1,500 in bonus bets if your bet loses. Just make sure you use that bonus code FIELD when you sign up. Most importantly, we have some fun stuff coming up for the rest of the NCAA tournament. Bet insurance tokens, college hoops odds boost, and the thing that I love the most, a nice little parlay boost, as well as a ridiculous array of prop bets for anything that you could possibly imagine betting on. From odds on getting to the Final Four to national championship futures, I'm calling it right now. BetMGM is the king of the prop bet. So go download the BetMGM app. Use that code FIELD and sign up today. And while I've got you, a quick request. The best way to support the Field of 68 content you get for free is to engage with us. Rate and review the pod in any podcast app. Like and share the YouTube videos that you enjoy. Tell your friends about us. It all helps in a world where the algorithm is king. And now, back to the show.
Welcome back to the Field of 68 After Dark. My favorite part about the show is we are live with you. We're reacting to things as we see them. Jon Scheyer just stepped up to a podium and said at the podium, I am not going to apologize for losing. These guys, you want to question their toughness, you want to criticize them after they got swept by North Carolina, after they lost by NC State. The fact is, we started 4 freshmen last year. We brought back Kyle Filipowski. We brought back Mark Mitchell. We brought back Tyrese Proctor for this moment. He said it's the NCAA tournament. It's what you just said. You apologize in this tournament for what? Nothing.
Nothing. And you know what? I love that Scheyer went off in that press conference. I love it because he's got this demeanor and this vibe, and it looks like he's young, and he's replacing Coach K. You don't get that same intimidation on the sideline. And I kind of love that frankly, he's probably calling us out. We're saying that his team was soft, and they just went out there and kind of want to
get it, man. But come on.
No, here's the thing. Yeah, it is what it is with the team, right? But the fact that he's sitting up there, they won a game, and he's coming out fired up and fighting for his guys.
That's fine. That's fine. But you also got to be realistic here and say, like, hey, we were fortunate too. I'm not going to apologize for winning, but we were also fortunate. We just beat Houston without their best player, without the head of the snake, on both ends of the court, by the way. On both ends, not just offensively. Jamal Shead's also maybe the best defensive player in the country.
You do have to remember here, Fanta, that nothing impresses Goodman in the tournament. That's the one thing that we've learned.
I think stuff impressed you.
Their toughness impressed me.
Yeah,
toughness impressed me. But again, all I'll say is they were fortunate. They were fortunate.
All right, hold on.
They were.
I'm not saying I'm not. I'm going to try to show that deep down you are impressed by.
I need my beer. Jesus Christ. Doster. Yeah, I might need the pitcher. I might need the whole
And
pitcher.
Folks, we're live with you throughout the Final Four week next week for like 6 straight days from Phoenix. No, we're live from the greatest bar in Boston, just blocks away from TD Garden. So let me ask you this before we get to NC State, because you got to be who has impressed you the most in the NCAA tournament?
That's easy. Illinois.
Illinois. I asked.
I mean, it's NC State. It's NC State for me. Look at what they've done. How can you not answer North Carolina State? And you know what? I've given the Wolfpack fans a lot of shit over the years. A lot of shit. Because they're annoying as hell. And they want to win. And the little brother syndrome, right, to Duke and Carolina. And, you know, they won it all years ago. And they've been living in the past for so long. They deserve nice things. Mm-hmm. They deserve nice things. And they finally get them. And Kevin Keats gives it to him. The guy that they wanted to run out of town 3 weeks ago now has 3 more years in Raleigh.
Good for him.
It's the first Elite Eight for this program since Jim Valvano was walking the sidelines in 1986. I mean, if you're in the mentioned in the same sentence as Jimmy V, say no more. And tonight, they held Marquette to 4 for 31 from 3. 4 for 31.
And they were open shots.
What?
A lot of them were wide open looks.
So how did this happen? What did you see that led to Marquette flopping?
I think it was just nerves. Like that's all it was. They missed a couple early, right? And then they got down, and I think it was one of those things where it just got in their head. And we can write it off as they just had one of those nights. We can write it off as, the shots didn't go down. But the bottom line is this, and the same thing happened to Arizona the other night. They had good looks, and they had the shooters that they wanted shooting those good looks, and they didn't make those good looks. And that's part of what this game is, right? And I understand that there is this this kind of push where people are like, look, you know what? This is just variance. Sometimes the shots aren't going to go down. Sometimes the shots are going to go down. I understand that this idea that defensive three-point field goal percentage, there's really not all that much you can do. You can limit the number of attempts, and you can limit the quality attempts, but good shooters are going to make shots. It's very fluky in terms of how many players are actually, or how these players are actually able to shoot in the moment, right? But I don't think that this is something where I don't want it to turn into just like, oh, they didn't make shots and that's why NC State made it.
No, NC State
won the game.
No, they're length defensively. I mean, at the end of the day, DJ Horn and Casey Morsell have been tough, throughout this NCAA tournament. DJ Horn is a man, and this is the stat that just blows my mind. In the first 29 games of the season, Mohamed Diarra had 5 games where he scored in double figures. He's had 5 on the last 6. He had a double-double tonight. He has been a matchup nightmare for teams.
Yeah, he dominated on the glass, and that was the thing. Like, if Oso Ighodaro is really good, Marquette has a chance to beat. He was not good today. Not good, not aggressive, caught the ball in the paint and didn't even look to score. It was so much on Tyler Kolek, and we said that all year, right? Like, Tyler Kolek needed more help. He got some from Cam Jones. Cam Jones wasn't very good in the first half. He started to make some shots in the second half. Too much on Tyler Kolek. Not enough help.
How disappointing.
Mitchell, not enough. Also not enough.
How disappointing is this for Shaka Smart?
Well, obviously you have a chance because how many more years are you going to get with Tyler Kolek? None, right? That's it. Does he have any left?
He has 1 left.
Does he have 1 left?
If he wants to.
All right, so maybe
Does he
come
take
back
it?
for 1 more. He should. He should. If you're Tyler Kolek, why not? I mean, unless you're going to get you're going to be drafted in the 50s or 40s, you come back for another year.
If I'm Shaka, this is
disappointing.
This one hurts because.
By the way, Ighodaro had a bad tournament.
Yeah, he struggled.
He just really was not good.
He struggled.
And he's the linchpin to what they do.
If I'm Shaka, this one hurts. The same way if I'm Tommy Lloyd, last night's loss hurt because all of a sudden you have a path that is feasible, right? I don't know if Marquette was going to be able to get past a healthy Houston. I think they can get past Duke.
They can get past Duke, yeah.
Duke. And like the bracket kind of opens up for you to get to the Final Four, and you got the shots. That's the thing that would probably would make it hurt more, but would allow you to sleep a little bit easier at night. You got the shots you wanted.
Yes,
they didn't go down, and that's what's going to happen. And this idea that it's kind of fluky that NC State or Clemson can be able to get to where they are because of an off shooting. That's what you need if you're the lesser team. If the team that's better than you shoots some lights out, you got no chance.
Yes.
So you need to have one of those nights where maybe they're not playing their best, and that's what happens.
I worry too about Marquette. Like beyond Kolek, they don't have a ton. So it's like when he leaves, what are you left with?
Well, Cam Jones would come back next
and
year.
He's awesome. I love Cam Jones, but again,
they got a couple of young freshmen that have a chance to be like the Trey Norman kids.
Good, but again, like
probably gonna have to
Kolek,
portal.
as we saw tonight, was the dude. And yeah, you really haven't had to go to the portal.
No.
The last couple
They've been
years.
anti-portal.
Correct. Now you got to go, and you got to go hard.
I have a note for you on this shooting performance. Marquette went 4 for 31 again tonight. 4 for 31. That's 12.9%. There have been 1,331 games in college basketball this year. 1,331. That's more than players in the portal right now. It's close. 13-31 games where a team has attempted 30 or more threes this season. That Marquette performance was the second worst shooting performance of those games.
What was the worst? Was Michigan State the worst?
The worst one,
Michigan State.
I'm so sorry to Bob Ritchie, but it was Furman. Furman back in January against Chattanooga. Tough.
Yeah, I mean, again, you don't think a team with Tyler Kolek and Cam Jones is going to have this type of shooting night. You just don't. You don't, but they happen. And when they happen, you have to find a way. And they dug themselves too big a hole. And honestly, every time it felt like Marquette made a little bit of a run, DJ Horn made a big play.
What's more surprising, I thought of this tonight, because it's the 12th time in the last 13 tournaments that a 7-seed or worse has made the Elite Eight. Remember the Kansas State run with Bruce Weber?
Yeah.
Does this NC State run kind of remind, where they just sort of...
Yeah, they beat Kentucky.
And Keats is saving his job like Weber did that year for the time being.
Yeah, no, you're right. I remember talking to Bruce Weber after that game, asking him about it. Yeah, I mean, Kevin Keats is embracing it right now. You can tell they're having a blast because, again, they're playing loose, and they're going to get a Duke team that they can play completely loose. They're going to be a big-time underdog, probably 6-7 points.
Go in there confident as hell, too.
Would you welcome NC State fans to our set in Arizona?
Hell
I know
yeah.
you have
Yeah, we got a little bit of a hot and cold. We can bring in Scotty McCreery, big-time NC State fan.
The
Tell
singer?
him who we met in Vegas.
Who did we meet in
At
Vegas?
the Aria.
Who?
Chris Corciani.
Chris Corciani. We'll bring in Corciani. Maybe we can bring in Fire and Ice. Chris Corciani and Rodney Monroe.
How about our man, the greatest shooter ever on the field of 68? Forget Randolph Childress. Forget Terrence Oglesby. Scott Wood.
Scott Wood can shoot the hell out of it.
I have to say this.
He can really get a
One-man
big
wolf
NC
pack.
State contingent.
I have to say this. The image of Trevor Valise and Dagan Hughes producing one of our shows and us saying, all right, that's going to do it for our analysis for now. Ladies and gentlemen, for a live musical guest, Scotty McCreery. Could we have a live singer?
Why not?
Why not?
Why not? I think Field of 68 is absolutely due a live musical performance.
Our friends at BetMGM, right? Use BetMGM here during March Madness. Duke, NC State. I haven't read anything. What would you guess would be the line?
About 6.5, 7, somewhere around there.
Wow,
I
that's-
would say six,
Yeah.
7
Really?
somewhere around
I
there.
can
Really?
look. As soon as I get the KenPom open, I can look. Listen, before we do that,
Yep.
just so you know, we have a special message from somebody associated with the ACC. If you guys want to take a look.
Oh,
Y'all
boy.
ready? Because I want to start this off straight and tell all three of y'all, stop playing with the ACC. Stop playing with the ACC, period. Stop playing with the ACC. All three of y'all. I ain't going to say it no more. When the ACC come up, respect it. Stop playing with the ACC. All three of y'all, Jeff Goodman, Rob Doster, John Fanta. Stop playing with the ACC. I ain't going to say it no more. Shout out to Birdman, Breakfast Club, Field of 68, and the ACC, baby.
All of us.
All right, so
Take us to break.
we're going to take a break. Ladies and gentlemen, Randolph Childress. It's the ACC parade on After Dark. We'll be back.
Whether you are a world-class athlete or a podcaster like myself, we all understand the importance of mental and physical well-being and proper recovery for top-notch performance. After a 6-month season loaded with cross-country travel and late nights, I can promise you that proper recovery is a priority for me these days. That is why I'm excited that Unified Healing is sponsoring this episode of the Field of 68. Unified Healing is a new and super innovative global network of wellness centers that's powered by the Energy Enhancement System, or the EE system. If you haven't heard of the EE system yet, you'll want to listen up. This technology promotes wellness, deep relaxation, purification, and rejuvenation. Whether you're here in New Jersey or at hundreds of other locations across the globe, access to a center is easy and affordable. Are you interested in experiencing the EE system technology for yourself? Well, All you got to do is go to unifiedhealing.com/field to learn more and find a center near you. You can find that link in the description below. That's unified, UNIFYD, healing.com/field. No material or testimonials on the Unified Healing website are intended to be viewed as medical advice or as a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always seek the advice of your physician or other qualified healthcare provider with any questions you may have regarding a medical condition or treatment and before you undertake a new healthcare regimen, including the EE system.
Well, we welcome you back to the Randolph Childress Show / the Field of 68 After Dark. I need your reaction to what we just witnessed. We could not hear it, but Rob could. So what did we just witness?
I have a whole new level of respect for Randolph Childress. That was awesome. You know what the coolest thing about this is? Like that's Randolph Childress. Like that's a legend.
One of the great
ACC.
players ever.
One of the greatest ACC players ever.
Yeah.
Who was responsible for maybe the greatest meme in the history of college basketball. He is quite literally a GIF that you see everywhere.
He's the best.
The crossover and this, and he just came on the show, threw on his DJ Burns shades, and just sit there and slandered us for 45 seconds. Respect, RC. Respect. You have it.
Look, respect to the ACC. You're judged on how you perform in this tournament. They're 11-2. But let's turn the page here to what we've got in Boston. Why we are all sitting here right now in Boston. Because on Saturday at 6:09 Eastern time, I am expecting, I don't know exactly what we're going to see in the game. But before we get to the X's and O's of the matchup, give me the vibe around town right now when UConn and Illinois fans pack TD Garden tomorrow night. What is it going to be?
I mean, we're sitting in this bar, in the greatest bar. Right now it's packed, and you can feel it, right? People coming up to us, UConn fans, Illinois fans. Those are two fan bases among the best in the country. Obviously, UConn's going to have 80, 90% of the arena.
No. I think it's going to be like 65.
That's it?
Yeah.
Really?
Yes.
We'll see.
I've
the
seen a
Illini
lot
fans
of
are
Illinois.
hungry because
here's how I know. Jeff.
Trevor Valise was in diapers last time Illinois got this far.
Here's how I know. That there's going to be a lot of Illinois fans here because the prices, if you look at StubHub and Game Time, the ticket apps, the prices have been slowly climbing up. Right? It's not normally what happens is they come down a little bit as you get closer to game time, which tells me there are people that are getting on flights, flying in tomorrow and buying tickets for the game.
Let's talk about the game. We visited with both teams today. I don't know about you guys, but this Illinois team, how loose are they? How energetic are they?
I've been doing this for 16 years now. I've been to the Final Four for 14 straight seasons. I've been to NCAA tournament games, Elite Eight sites for 13 straight seasons.
Yeah.
And I cannot remember a team that was as loose as Illinois is.
I can give you one.
Who?
LSU's Final Four team with Big Baby and Tasman Mitchell. Those dudes were unbelievable.
That was before my
I know,
time.
but this team has a shirtless 60-year-old with a water gun.
Yes, this shirtless 60-year-old with a water gun. They have their little routine to push in their chairs. We're just trying to be respectful. They're
having fun.
But here's why I think they are in this mindset is because they've been through a lot, and it's not just like. When you asked him you asked Brad Underwood a really good question today on like what was the trials and tribulations, like the specific thing that really bothered you.
Yeah, the low point. Yeah.
And he was like the Penn State loss where they blew a 10-point lead in like 45 seconds.
At Rec Hall.
On the road, right? And obviously that was the big basketball one. But that pales in comparison to seeing what has happened with Terrence Shead. Like there are real life consequences to things that are happening within this program where these guys have kind of realized like, okay, that's real. This is what we do.
Right.
There's actual consequences that Terrence Shannon could be dealing with right now. There are real repercussions for Illinois for playing him if certain things happen, right? And I don't want to dive into that situation, but what I'm saying is that's bigger than just basketball. So they're dealing with that. and they understand that there's something beyond the sport. So it's like, okay, we're going to this game, but like it's a game. We're going to play sport. Like this is what we do.
When the season started, did you think that Illinois could be standing in this position?
I don't know. I don't know. I think so, but I didn't know Terrence Shannon was going to be this good this year. Nobody did.
I don't think anybody.
Nobody did.
And no one knew Domas was going to be
That's
this
what I'm
good.
saying.
I don't even know if Brad Underwood thought.
So I would say no, because my big question all the time is about point guard play. And I was like, man, Ty Rodgers, don't trust it. Well, the thing with this Illinois team is, and you could say this about very few teams, I'm not sure they need a high-level offensive point guard to make life easier because of the way they play their offense, the way Terrence Shannon is able to create, right, get downhill, the way Marcus Domas can back dudes down and make plays out of the post. So they have other ways of being able to score. Coleman Hawkins, the one thing I'll say is today, Coleman Hawkins, who gets, it's funny because on the court, he's the biggest shit talker maybe in the country. One of them. He's definitely top 5.
He's not even number 1 in this game.
Cam Spencer.
Yeah, right.
I told you we need
there.
I told you we need the
Coleman's
mic up
right
for this
there
game.
with him now.
I told Jeff, I told Borzello, I told Norlander that we need Cam Spencer and Coleman
He
Hawkins
was right.
mic'd up for this game. And Goodman goes, but I'm not going to be able to watch it, so why should I care?
No, I never said that. I said you're a dumbass because you can't get him mic'd up at this point. Anyway, here's what I'll say with Coleman Hawkins. Like, he was kind of all business today for the most part.
Yes,
like,
he was.
I give him credit. Like, I thought he would have a little more fun, and they do.
Hey,
was
he did
the only
say,
guy.
too, I love this quote. He goes, the pressure's not on us.
Right.
The pressure's not on us.
Not
It's on
everywhere.
UConn.
I asked him, I said, about your health. I said, how is your knee? Because he's been dealing with tendonitis all year. You know what he said his percentage probably is? 60 to 70%.
I was right next to you when he said it. You're looking, why are you telling
I don't
me
even.
that?
I don't know where.
Tell
you
the
are.
people. Tell the people in the
Well,
camera.
he's just
I
found
never
out
looked
about
at
a coaching scoop that's been out
Right,
there
right,
for
2 hours.
Well,
2 hours, and he just finds out about a big
I've
coaching
known
scoop
about
that we're
it.
going to talk about in a little bit.
Wait, hold on. Can I say one thing about Illinois? Right, there is. I challenge anybody to show me where anybody that's not like Trevor, like a diehard Illinois fan, show me where you said that Illinois was going to head into the Elite Eight as maybe the one team that could beat the number 1 team in the country. Wanna know why?
Wait a minute.
Wait,
That's disrespectful to Purdue.
No. Okay. One of the best 4 teams in the country. Show me anyone that thought that Illinois would be like a top 5 team in America here. Because I will call your bluff on it.
Can they do it?
Yeah, I think they can. I'll tell you why in a second. But we're talking about a team where their best player is a guy, Terrence Shannon, who couldn't shoot last year. Right?
Yeah, that's
couldn't
right.
shoot.
That's
That's
right.
why he's back in school, because he couldn't shoot. Their second best player is a guy whose level of consistency is something that nobody could trust ever in Coleman Hawkins, right? Their third best player is a guy in Marcus Domas who was an up transfer that I don't think anybody really thought would be like an all Big Ten. If you thought he was an all Big Ten caliber guy, like, credit to you. No, if anyone saw this coming from that group, show me the receipts, because I want to see it, because I think the job that they've done, Brad Underwood coaching them up, these individual players developing, all of these guys buying into the way that they want to play, like, you got to give them credit, because they are.
Oh, of course
it's been
you give them
so
credit.
Much fun to watch them. Like, they are one of the more entertaining teams in college basketball.
They are. They're the number
honestly,
2 offense in the country.
I know we talked to Tyler Underwood, Brad's son, earlier today, and what he said was, my dad has really changed because he's learned how to adapt, not just with on the court, X's and O's and style of play and system, but with the players. You can see it, right? Those dudes can screw around with them, right? They can have fun with
called
them.
him soft today.
They called
him
him
soft.
You ever think
And
you
they
hear
weren't
that?
talking about his stomach. They were talking about the fact that, this hard ass who learned from Bob Huggins has changed. He's adapted, and you have to these days.
I do want to say that I think that Illinois is uniquely built to be able to win this game. But there are two really, really interesting matchup points.
How do they do it? How do they win?
There's 2 really interesting matchup points that I want both of your feedback on. Let's start with this. We've seen a lot of teams switch UConn 1 through 4. Like, that's been a point of emphasis to try to blow up what they do offensively, is switch 1 through 4.
Yes.
Keep the 5 on Klingon and don't let them get any of these like coming off the screens, any of the doubles, anything where it's backdoor. You automatically switch, and it takes them out of being able to run that action.
Only works for so long, but yes.
So Illinois can do that 1 through 5.
That's the
when
difference.
They start with their starting lineup, because if you have Ty Rodgers guarding Donovan Clingan in the post, I think you take that if you're Illinois and say, like, if he's going to back me down, like, it is what it is. So, one, if you're Illinois, do you do that? Do you switch 1 through 5? Because I think you do.
Yeah, I think you start that way. I do. I think you start that way. And again, the great thing with Illinois is they're big, they're strong, they've got some length, right? Like UConn's not going to be able to punk them. They're not.
I'm going to tell you where this starts. All right? This, at the end of the day, you could talk about Clingan. You could talk about Spencer and Caravan making shots. You could talk about Stephon Castle's emergence, and he has emerged because teams have played off him, and guess what? He's made him pay. If you allow Tristan Newton to be in a rhythm and run the game, you're going to lose 10 out of 10 times. Nobody has tried to cut off the head of this snake. Dan Hurley has said it. Our most important piece. That's it.
Right.
Ty Rodgers could do that, but conversely, Stephon Castle can make Terrence Shannon's life harder than it's been.
Yes, and look, he's going to.
He's going to.
He's going. Look,
he's still a freshman.
No, here's the thing.
But he's a top 5 defender in college hoops.
But you're not going to stop.
We'll see. We'll see tomorrow night.
You're not going to stop Terrence. Terrence Shannon's going to get his 25.
Yeah, but you got to make it hard
because you can't keep him from getting to the line.
Well, that's the thing.
Can't.
That's the thing. I think that. So there's a couple things here. One, I think that Steph Castle he's not built like a freshman.
He's not. He's a
play
pro.
Like a freshman. And I think that he's like, if there's anybody in college basketball that's kind of built to be able to slow Shannon down and make life hard for him, it's Steph Castle. And two, it gets to my second really interesting matchup point, right? And that is, how do you match up if you're UConn? Because what Purdue did when they beat Illinois the 2 times is they had Zach Edey guard Ty Rodgers and just put Zach Edey right under the rim and said, Ty, if you want to shoot threes and beat us with threes, beat us with threes. And then you have a 7'4" guy at the rim anytime Shannon drives or anytime Domas posts up. And in theory, that makes a lot of sense because it means that you don't have Clingan having to guard Coleman Hawkins, but it puts you in a situation where Alex Caravan now has to guard Coleman Hawkins. And if there's a weakness on UConn defensively, it is attacking the 4, attacking Caravan. That's what teams try to pick on.
Here's the one thing that we mentioned, Terrence Shannon's shooting getting better. Mm-hmm. You know what else has gotten better? His passing.
Yes.
His passing. So, like, he can pick you apart a little bit too.
Shannon or Hawkins?
Shannon. Shannon's passing has gotten much better. So, I don't know. This
is a de facto
final. I go back to it and I say, like you started, this is a scary, dangerous team for Dan Hurley and the UConn Huskies. Not saying they won't win. I'm saying this is the first one that you look at and you're like, you know what? If they don't play their A game and Illinois plays their A game, UConn goes home.
Now, so here's the thing to kind of bring it all together is Illinois is going to get theirs. Like, look, I feel very confident saying that Illinois is going to find a way to put up like 75 or 80 points minimum, right? Minimum, because the tempo they want to play at, getting out in transition.
We'll see.
Hitting threes. I think that they're going to score. Like, they're too good offensively to not put up points.
We'll see.
It all depends on what Illinois can do defensively against this UConn offense. Like,
I'm shutting it down. This is ending tomorrow. It's been a great run. The Illini have had a terrific run.
Oh,
I know you're trying to make I'm kicking them out. I love your run. I love your story. The Connecticut Huskies are going to win. No, you called me Mr. Harry Big East. The fact of the matter is the Big East disappointed tonight. Flopped 0-2. It ain't flopping tomorrow. Connecticut's winning this game by double figures. They're going to remind everybody why it's the UConn Invitational. Illinois will compete, but Connecticut will win 92-80.
Trevor is very upset with you right now.
Well, Trevor can be upset with me. But at the end of the day, Trevor, you're not here. You could have been here. Your team's in the Elite 8.
Actually, he made the right decision because
did he?
Either his team wins and he sees him in the Final Four, or he flies here to see his team.
Well, I feel like I'm high looking at all the lights in this bar, so I don't know. He probably is fine where he's at.
I will say this. That I really do think that this is going to be the toughest test that UConn gets in this tournament unless they.
Oh, I agree. This is a de facto Final Four game.
This is the most difficult matchup they'll face, period.
Unless they face Purdue.
Okay.
Which now, tonight's results.
Don't we all want that?
Yes, I'm saying. No, that's my overarching take. the last 2 nights of this tournament, if you're UConn and Purdue and you're rooting for that matchup, it's likely to happen.
7, 6.
I mean, I want it.
5,
I want it.
4.
Coming up next, coaching carousel time. We'll educate Rob who got hired.
That's right. That's right.
By now, you guys have surely heard about Autograph, an app founded by Tom Brady with the intention of disrupting the way that fans consume content covering their favorite teams. This is how the app works. All of the podcasters, bloggers, and digital creators covering a team have their content sent to that team's page in the Autograph app. Instead of having to bounce from site to site or trying to navigate the safer workspaces on Twitter, you can just scroll through Autograph. This isn't a hard sell. This is the truth. I am a UConn fan, and I use the Autograph app to keep up with the writers I read and the pods that I listen to about UConn basketball. The best part is that every piece of content that you consume gives you reward points. The more you get, the more chances you have at things like discounted tickets to games and the grand prize, a trip to the LA Regional and a spot in a suite for the Sweet 16 and Elite 8 games. Here's the best part. We've partnered with Autograph to donate $1 to the V Foundation every time someone downloads the app using the code F68, with a minimum of $2,500 getting donated. The app is free. So download, use the code F68, help us raise a little bit of money for cancer research, and give Autograph a try. I promise you it will be worth it. And while we're here, a quick reminder, make sure that you subscribe to the Daily. We have new landing pages with deep dives into each coaching change, as well as a tracker that provides scouting reports on the transfers that have entered the portal that you are going to want to know about. Hit the link below to subscribe.
3, 2, 1.
Welcome back to the Field of 68 After Dark. We are at the greatest bar in Boston. It is the greatest bar. This place is awesome. Jeff Goodman, Rob Doster, John Fanta. Elite 8 is set. You got 3 rematches from the regular season. For what it's worth, you got Clemson and Alabama. Clemson went into Tuscaloosa and won. Duke and NC State, they met a couple times, but NC State took the last meeting. And you got Purdue, Tennessee. They met in Maui. Purdue found a way to win. Illinois and UConn, for whatever reason, this is only their 4th all-time meeting. They haven't met in 30 years. But we have coaching carousel news. Charleston AD Matt Roberts gets a dilemma earlier this week because Pat Kelsey, who did a sensational job in our city, takes the job at Louisville. Who's back? Chris Mack, hired by Charleston. What is your reaction to Mack being back?
I love it. I love it. I mean, you look at his resume. I mean, the dude got it done at Xavier at a high level. He went to 8 tournaments in 9 years. He started off at Louisville strong. Obviously, didn't end well for him. But, man, if you think about it and you're Matt Roberts and you lose Pat Kelsey and you're saying to yourself, like, what do I do? What do I do? Who am I going to get? And you get a guy with his resume, it's insane. I mean, again, like Chris Mack, I talked to him, obviously, a good amount. And he's ready to get back in now. He's hungry. This is the time for him. And to come to our city,
Your city.
my city, and keep this thing going.
You want to know how I know he's ready to get back into coaching? Because last year, probably 4 or 5 times a week, I would have a text from him about fishing. You know, once every week or two, he would actually catch a fish, and he would send me a picture of the fish that he caught. That hasn't happened in like 3 months. He's been locked in. He's been watching games. He's been getting a feel for what the transfers are going to go try to
the sign that I know he's ready to get back into coaching.
When was the last time he was on the show?
He is so ready to get back to coaching that he's willing to be your neighbor.
No doubt. We're going to do a few halls, dinners.
How big is this for Charleston to keep their trajectory going?
Huge, because, again, you forget about the press conference, right? And we should talk about Pat Kelsey in a minute, too, and how he crushed in his press conference. It doesn't matter. It's about what you're going to do with this program. And, again, Chris Mack, a terrific coach. Obviously, we know what Charleston has in terms of resources, right? I mean, the best job in the league in the CAA. He's going to keep this thing up because Pat Kelsey already had momentum. Now, again, he's losing a lot of dudes to the portal. But this is the right job.
He's the kind of guy that might be able to get those dudes out of the portal.
He might. You're right.
I mean, think about it. If
He's a name. He's a big name. Everybody knows who he is.
If you're some of those guys going to the portal, one, Charleston's got money to spend on NIL, right? They're top of their league in terms of that.
Top of their league.
Two, it's the best job in the league. So if your decision is like, okay, let's just say you're Ben Burnham. Ben Burnham's in the portal, right?
Yep.
So you're Ben Burnham.
And Rain Smith.
Okay, so like you're one of these two guys. Like, oh, I can go play a role for a team that is going to be like at the high major ranks, maybe like mid to high majors. Maybe something in like a Georgia Tech. Let's just throw that out there for an example.
Ben
right?
Burnham, South Carolina. He's from South Carolina. So
like
use that.
Yeah, so like you go play a role on a team like a South Carolina, who's won at the highest level, right? Who's probably going to find a way to coach his team up. You're going to have a very good chance to win your league, and you're going to have a very good chance to be able to win a game or two in the tournament. So, like, if your choice is, if you want this level, I get it. But it's a pretty attractive option to come back.
This was a home run.
Yes.
Like, I think we can all agree. Like, this wasn't just a home run.
Can we talk about Kelsey's press conference now? Because that was unbelievable.
Elite level, right?
Not
like,
just the presser. He jumped in the Twitter spaces with the fans. Like, I was.
That's how you win over people.
You know,
right away.
Right away.
He went from, and I talked.
Boy,
to
does that
Louisville,
fan base need it.
I talked to the Louisville AD, Josh Hurd, this morning, and we had talked a little bit about Pat Kelsey over the last couple weeks, and this is a guy that, again, you knew you weren't going to win the press conference in a way going in, and I kind of said that to him, but ultimately he did win it. He did win it because what he did during the press conference.
I don't know if people on YouTube can see this, and I know the people listening at home definitely cannot, but Jeff has been trying to put his phone on his leg for 15 minutes.
It doesn't
and
really
it keeps falling off.
Really
so he's sitting there talking,
but think about
trying to catch his phone as it falls
Louisville
off his
fans
leg.
wanted what? They
Energy.
wanted Chris Beard. They wanted Sean Miller. They wanted Dusty May. They wanted Scott Drew. They got Pat Kelsey. They were dejected when they heard it.
They shouldn't be.
They were dejected. They were like, "Who? I never even heard of this dude." And then he goes up there for an hour yesterday, and he does Pat Kelsey, right? He has more energy, and I say this. I've covered Major League Baseball. I've covered hockey. I've covered basketball. I've covered all the sports at all levels pretty much, right? I've never been around a coach ever, who's had more energy than Pat Kelsey. He showed it yesterday. He showed he's kind of one of them, and he has won him over. Now, again, you're going to have to win him over in the portal. You're going to have to win him over on the court, but he's got everything, honestly, that Kenny Payne did.
And this fan base had grown past anger. It had grown to apathy and not giving a damn. Instantly, Louisville basketball is at least relevant because they have a guy who's going to make them relevant. You got to have a uniter. With that in mind, as we get into Final Four week, I know there's Oklahoma State, USC, with the Andy Enfield situation, with SMU, the top storylines that we should be paying attention to entering Final Four week that could keep the carousel rolling along.
Well, the biggest thing is Andy Enfield's going to end up going to SMU here probably Monday. Monday it could be official. And then there'll be some USC names, okay? Mark Pope will be in the mix. Jamie Dixon will be in the mix. Eric Musselman. That's the one that could create a major domino effect. That's the one. Because if Arkansas does open, everybody goes after that one.
Big-time job.
Goes after. Yeah. You can see big-time names like, Chris Beard be in the mix, Jerome Tang.
And then that would open up another job.
Correct. So that's the one to watch. If Muss moves, a lot happens. If it's Jamie Dixon at TCU, there's a little bit of a holdup at Oklahoma State here. They're at kind of a standstill right now. Steve Lutz is the favorite, according to sources, but nothing's happened here in a little bit. So we'll see what happens. Something's got to happen soon because, again, you can't just sit there if you're an athletic director and wait as the portal churns.
Things are still in Stillwater, and when the carousel's riding, they can't be. Let's pick the Elite Eight games. Here we go. Let's start with Alabama and Clemson. Who's going to win?
I don't give a piss about nothing but the Tide. Alabama's actually not horrible. Wasn't that bad.
Do you ever just want to, take a swing? I mean, I don't – he doesn't compliment you. You have no feel.
Every day of my life.
You didn't know who was the coach at Louisville, according to him.
Charleston.
No, he had no idea.
Excuse me, Charleston.
He had no idea until 10 minutes ago. You're the last person to know.
Pick the game.
Yeah, I'm going Crimson Tide too, and I can't believe I'm on, Nate Oates and the Crimson Tide bandwagon now, but I'm there. He's done such a ridiculous job with this group. Going Clemson? You should go with both guys on the hot seat. You should just go.
I am taking Brad Brownell and Clemson to crash this. I look.
like
don't
it.
say it can't
No.
because anything can happen.
This is a pick'em game.
UConn, Illinois.
I don't go against UConn. I don't go against them, but man, this game better be good, and I think it's gonna be
UConn. UConn. UConn.
Nobody more annoying to watch a game
UConn.
with the UConn game with than this.
Good, you can sit on the
idiot.
other side of the floor.
Connecticut
Go
wins
to the
this game.
stands.
I think it's a very entertaining game, high-scoring game. I just think UConn outclasses them. All right, to Sunday.
Go sit next to what's his name?
Hot balls?
Hot balls.
Penfield?
Mr. Hot balls.
Yeah.
You got all these.
No escalators?
Well, who are these people?
They're going to come
Are
to
they
our
real?
show. Yes.
Are they real?
You were drinking with them last year.
Really?
I wish they were.
Fair.
At some bar,
It's
pop a
Houston
shot.
and McIntyre.
He beat
Let's go.
Terrence.
Yeah.
Go to Sunday. Purdue, Tennessee. Go.
Boiler up.
I think so, too.
Me too. I'm not going against Purdue
Yeah.
here.
This is destiny for them, right?
Yep.
This is it. If not now, then when? And then to round it out, all ACC. Does anybody want to pick NC State?
No, I'm going to go Duke Blue Devils, even though they got very, very lucky tonight.
Duke. We need Duke in the Final Four so Scheyer can cuss us out from the
Bring it on,
the
baby.
press conference.
Bring it on.
and yell at
Scheyer
us
doesn't
for
cuss.
saying that
He's like Hubert Davis.
You know what? I think Duke got their break tonight, and they're going to use it to get to the Final Four. Duke finds a way to win this game. Toast of the night. Go ahead. Who you toasting?
Mackenzie Holmes, Indiana women's basketball. They came back. They almost beat South Carolina. They cut a 22-point lead all the way down to, I think, 4 points. Boy, final game. Love you, Mackenzie. You have made me into an Indiana women's basketball fan. Thank you.
Love it. Robert.
So I'm going to go with Jeremy Roach, who has been a guy that has taken a lot of heat over the years, who is the face of a program that has been criticized quite a bit this season, who has found a way to be able to get this team to the Elite Eight and within a very winnable game of the Final Four. So Jeremy Roach, hell of a season for you, my friend. Taking a lot of heat. Duke's taking a lot of heat. Blue Devils are taking a lot of heat from us, and they are one win away from the Final Four. You got 40 seconds, man.
I'm going to toast Braden Smith because he was the best player on the floor of any game I saw tonight. 14 points, 15 assists, 8 rebounds, just 2 turnovers. Braden Smith, and I got to say, if you're a Purdue fan, you're going to bed tonight thinking, we thought this could happen. We're 40 minutes away from making it happen. And if you're in Boiler Nation and you haven't booked a ticket to Arizona, I'm not saying beating Tennessee's easy. But again, if not now, then when? This is right here, Matt Painter and Zach Edey. You got here to an Elite Eight. I can't wait for Easter Sunday. The Lord resurrected. Now the Boilers can too. That does it for us from the greatest bar. For Jeff, Rob, I'm John. See you tomorrow.
Y'all ready? Because I want to start this off straight and tell all 3 of y'all, stop playing with the ACC. Stop playing with the ACC, period. Stop playing with the ACC. All 3 of y'all. I ain't going to say it no more. When the ACC come up, respect it. Stop playing with the ACC. All 3 of y'all, Jeff Goodman, Rob Doster, John Fanta. Stop playing with the ACC. I ain't going to say it.